Hello knitters, I'm Mary Annarella of Lyrical Knits, and this is a tutorial for how to work a stitch that is a part of my current mystery knit along, The Knights Who Say Knit. Now in the pattern, I'm actually calling it the moose stitch because I think it looks a lot like moose antlers, and as we all know, moose bites are nasty. But it is also known as the shell stitch. So you may come across it elsewhere as the shell stitch. I am calling it the moose stitch. Now, this stitch is over garter. So I've got some garter ridges here, and I have worked up to the part in the pattern where it says, you know, knit X number of stitches, then work the moose stitch. Now this stitch, moose stitch, shell stitch, is worked over 5 stitches. So I'm working it over these next 5 stitches here. Now what the instructions say to do is to find the 3rd stitch on the left hand needle. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. There is the 3rd stitch on the left hand needle. And insert your right hand needle into the 5th stitch below that 3rd stitch on the right hand needle. Well, I'm going to show you how to find that right now. I'm going to open up these garter ridges by, kind of holding them open with my fingers like this and count holes. There's the 1st stitch below, 2nd stitch below, 3rd stitch below, 4th stitch below, 5th stitch below. So I'm going to insert my right hand needle like a sword into that stitch right there and draw up a loop like that. Let's do that again because I want to show you an easier way to find that as well. So the 5th stitch below that 3rd stitch, so 1, 2, 3rd stitch on the left hand needle. The 5th stitch below is going to be right below the 3rd garter ridge. So we've got 1 garter ridge right here, a 2nd garter ridge below that, and then the 3rd one right here. Now this is light colored yarn, I know, but I deliberately am using a dark background so you can hopefully see it better. But again, here's the 1st garter ridge, 2nd garter ridge that I'm pointing at with my right hand needle, 3rd garter ridge. That 5th stitch is right below that 3rd garter ridge. So I'm gonna stab that. I'm gonna insert my right hand needle into that and draw up a loop. Like I'm knitting. You basically just knit into that. It's a dip stitch. If you've done dip stitches before, then you got that. Okay, now I am a continental knitter, and so I thread my yarn with the left hand like this. And do you see how I have the yarn wrapped around my left index finger twice? I'm not going to do it that way. I'm actually just going to hold it like this just because, and again, this is just if you're a continental knitter, it keeps things a little looser, and I find that you get a nicer shell stitch like that if you just keep it loose. So let's start over. Find the 3rd stitch on the left hand needle, go 1, 2, 3 garter ridges below and go into the hole right below that, or count to the 5th row below that. Pull up a loop, keep it nice and big, and then knit 1. And we are going to do that a total of 5 times into that same hole now. Now that hole is pretty easy to find, isn't it? So we've done this once. We've done it we've drawn 1 loop in, 1 dip stitch, and then knit 1. We're going to do that a total of 5 times into this. So there's 1 time, draw a loop in a 2nd time, and knit 1. And again, I'm keeping it loose. A 3rd time, and knit 1, keeping it loosey-goosey. That's 3. 4th time, oh, it's getting kind of tight, getting kind of hard to do that, and knit 1. A 5th one. Now what I kind of do is I slide my stitches closer to the tip of my right hand needle because it makes it easier for me to go in for this 5th loop. There we go. And again, you can't pull it too much, but just don't make it tight. Keep it loose like that. And then knit 1. So I've done that. I've done a dip stitch and a knit 1 5 times. Now I need to go in for 1 more dip stitch, a 6th time. And again, to do that, it gets kind of tight. So I shift my needles close to the tip of my right hand needle, and I'll dip in, draw my loop, and that is my 6th time. All right, so that, again, I am a continental knitter. And let's do this one more time. All right, and I'm gonna try to do this with an English style knitting, and y'all are gonna laugh at me because I just cannot knit English at all, but I just wanna give you a sense of how that works. So again, find the 1, 2, 3, third stitch on the left-hand needle, go into the 5th stitch below, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, draw up your loop, and again, I'm gonna pretend like I'm doing this English style. Ugh, I can't do this, folks. You're all gonna be laughing at me. All right, and so I'll knit one. There we go. All right, I'm gonna dip in one more time. That's 2, right? And then I'll throw my yarn again there, 2. And then a 3rd time, gonna knit that. Here we go, keep it loose. Knit 1. This is hilarious, you all watching me doing this, because I am not a thrower at all. I wish I could, because then I could do both ways. Oh, did I get it? I did, oh, I got it, yay. That's 4. So you get the gist. Just that as a thrower, you're gonna need to obviously do things a little differently. And that's 5. And then one final one. Even if you're a thrower, you still need to shift your stitches close to the end of the needle there so you can get your right-hand needle back in there so you can wrap your yarn to draw a loop through. There we go. Oh, you probably couldn't see that. Oh well, too bad. Y'all got the gist of that pretty well. And I will be right back to show you how to work it on the reverse side. Okay, so I have finished the right side row of the moose shell stitch, and now I am working the wrong side of it. So I want to show you how that works. Now this is mostly in garter, so I'm going to knit as per the instructions, knit to 1 stitch before that big cluster of moose stitches. So let me show you what that looks like. Knit, 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 knit. Knit, I say knit to you today. All right, so I have knit to 1 stitch before this big old cluster of stitches here. It is really obvious where this cluster of stitches happens to be. So the instructions tell us knit to 1 stitch before that big cluster, then purl the next 2 stitches together through the back loop. So that means 1 stitch from here and this stitch right here are going to be knit together through the back loops. Now I want to show you something funky here. Getting it up close and personal for you. See how these stitches look kind of twisted here? The one that's closest to you on the wrong side, that is the 2nd stitch there. So I'm using my fingernail here to just poke out the next stitch. That's really the next stitch. So I'm going to take my right-hand needle, insert it through the back loop of that 2nd stitch, and then through that 1st one, and purl them together through the back loops. No, you cannot substitute purl 2 together for that. It's going to give you the wrong direction. Right? So we purl 2 together 3 times. So these next 2 stitches, these 1, 2 stitches here, I'm going to insert my right-hand needle through the back loops through both of them, like that, and purl. I am not even going to try to do that by throwing. You saw what a terrible job I did with knitting in the English style. Bad Zoot, naughty, wicked Zoot who can't be a thrower, must knit continentally. That was 2 times that we did that. So let's knit the 3rd one through the 3rd set through the back loops. Okay, so we have purled knit two, did I say knit two? Purl two together through the back loops. We did that 1, 2, 3 times. Now we're just going to purl one. Oh, what a blessing that is. So much easier. Now these last 3 are much easier. You're going to purl two together 3 times. So this stitch here and this stitch here, we're just going to purl them together, purl two together. And again, these two, the one, you have to take a look and make sure you know which one is in the front. And in this case, the one that's closest to you on the wrong side row, see how this one's closer to you? That's your next stitch in this case. So purl those two together like that. And then you just have this one shell stitch, moose stitch left, and you're going to purl it together with this next one on the left-hand needle. Ta-da! Now you have to knit to 1 stitch before the next cluster. Don't be tempted to purl these next stitches, because then you're going to be having stockinette on the right side. Okay, so we're switching things around here. You need to knit, and I am so ridiculously tempted to just purl because I just, did a bunch of purl two togethers through the back loops and then purl two togethers. And so my brain just wants to keep purling. Don't do that. Don't do what I did. Knit them, knit to 1 stitch before the next cluster. And again, these 2 stitches here tend to get a little stuck to each other, so I have to pick them apart with my fingernails. So I'm gonna knit two together, purl two together through the back loops. There we go. Purl two together through the back loops one more time. Purl two together through the back loops a 3rd time, and then just purl 1. Yay. Now we're going to purl two together 3 times, purl two together 1 time, purl two together 2 times, and purl two together 3 times. Do not be tempted to continue purling, because now we knit to the next one. Here we go. What if I zoomed out a little bit? Can I do that? There we go. Give you another sense of that. It is really tough to be knitting while standing up and hovering with a camera between you and your hands, so I cannot see things as easily. All right, so I have knit to the 1 stitch before that big old cluster, and I'm gonna release these stitches, make sure they're not sticking to each other, and purl two together through the back loops 3 times. Purl two together through the back loops once. Purl two together through the back loops twice. Purl two together through the back loops a 3rd time. Purl 1. And now just plain purl two together, much easier. Another plain purl two together. And another plain purl two together. And there you go. Let's take a look at what it looks like from the right side. So I'll just flip things around. Oh, this is really nice. Look at that. Look at those moose antlers. It looks like a moose. Make sure you bring your moose treats, and I'll see you for the next clue. Be well and have a great day.